Hello everyone. Today is Comet ZTF's birthday of its discovery, the first anniversary. So I thought this was really a great occasion to celebrate this comet once more, which is just starting to really make its effect being felt here on planet Earth, and I'll show you why. So first of all, I want to play you a little video here which this astronomer has put together, and here is the link. I will post that under the video here. And this is astrophotographer Miguel Claro recorded the action here in this movie. So let's just watch it. Let's celebrate this a little bit, this beautiful comet, powerful comet. I wrote this today. It just came to me. You certainly can feel it. The month of March will be super intense. Several people said that, actually, not just me. Jacqueline Hobbs is one of them, who I really respect for her exact predictions of so many things already energetically, which we have seen occurring in these last few years. She's really at the leading edge of what is truly going on energetically on this planet. So I strongly recommend oraclegirl.org. If you are not yet tuned in, go and check her out. She is doing reboots, which means literally rebooting yourself every 3 days. And yeah, you have to check it out. It's quite something. You can certainly feel it. The month of March will be super intense, to a big part because of us. If we dare to express and act on what arises from within, if we have the guts to stand up, draw the line, speak up and say no, some phenomenal shifts are possible right now. We carry a very high electrical charge, and the sun is definitely helping on that. I mean, you have been watching that too. We are at solar maximum 2 years before it actually is scheduled to be there. So let's see how high it goes for the next 2 years. Might be quite remarkable. So we are in this zone of chaos. At least that's what it appears to be. There is great order in the back of this, because the sun is an intelligent being. It is emitting these pulses at the exact right moments, as I have shown you with many charts of that exact moment when flares are occurring. It's always remarkable of particular planets, particular energies being highlighted, amplified. So we carry this high electrical charge. We are living beings, and our electromagnetic makeup is resonating with Earth's electromagnetic makeup, so to say. This is holographic and resonance. These are the two principles I would call. So we are capacitors. We accumulate charge. That's what it means. And the clearer our channel is, the more charge we are accumulating. and we are emitting thunderbolts. One of my friends, just after I posted this, was leaving the comment under my Facebook post that her house was hit by a lightning strike last night, and she said she had goosebumps when she was reading my post. Not just firing each other up, but generating countless powerful vortices of cohesive and coherent frequencies. And you know what happens if you put light waves into a coherence? You get a laser. A simple flashlight, the same power, will burn holes in a iron sheet. That's how powerful coherent light is. And if you think of yourself and all of us, that coherence, we have a tremendous power, even though we are maybe smaller in numbers comparingly. We are creating this frequency, this coherent, cohesive frequency, which is rippling out in all directions, and further it will boost this incredible wave of transformation that's sweeping across planet Earth right now. And this comet has a big part in what is happening right now. It's really kind of like lightening the fuse. That's what I would kind of compare it. And there's just 1 in a billion the coincidences of the alignment with Mars. I've shown that in several videos, which are a little lengthy. That's why I thought I really bring the condensed version here once more and show you all just the charts of that comet, the 7 touchdown points, which I call it. You will see. So the first one naturally is the Discovery. Here you have it in small on the left side, small here below my beautiful image. Anyway, some fun has to be. So March the 2nd, 2023, that is exactly 1 year since it was discovered. And I just want to first show you this chart as an entry point. The sun is naturally at the same degree. And then let's just do the overlay, because this really will show you the amazing resonance here, even with this 1 year anniversary, which always is a reboot too in many ways. That's what anniversary charts are. If you do astrology, you are definitely aware of solar returns, and you can do returns on all planets, solar return being the most important and widely used, which gives you a forecast for the year to come, kind of how your energy is expressing itself in this present time. Beautiful resonance here, the Mercury-Mars conjunction, which is right here at this Aquarian ascendant. And I should say something about this Aquarian ascendant maybe to start with. It so happens, if we look here at the Discovery chart once more just by itself, that the comet at Discovery was here at 3 degrees and 38 minutes of arc in Aquarius. Many thousand years ago, it was coming in from the 9th degree of Aquarius. Thanks Ron Scott again for that information. And it will leave our solar system again through this sign, because it has this very steep, very elongated ellipse which goes out 50,000 years into the past, so to say. That's how long it takes the comet to come back here. So the 50,000 years is remarkable. This links us back, this makes a bridge to the civilization of Lemuria or Mu, which you can look it up. It's certainly not official archaeological knowledge, as this time has long been washed away and buried through many layers of earth changes, but the esoteric knowledge says that's around 50,000 years ago. So it really links us back energetically to that time. It's an Aquarian comet in that sense. It came from Aquarius, it will leave through Aquarius, it has the Aquarius rising, and its discovery chart was in Aquarius by itself, and in this amazing alignment here with Venus, Mars, and Pluto, and Vesta, which is the spiritual component in this whole alignment, in this whole stellium of dedicated service to a higher cause. That's what it means in concert with Venus and Mars, a real new creation of a very powerful and deep transformation, Pluto. So in itself, the comet has this really strong Aquarian note at 3:38. That is the dwad of Pisces, between 2:30 and 5 degrees. Actually, I said it wrong, at 2:38 to be exact. That's what it is, 2:38. But in the third degree, between 2:30 and 5 degrees, is the Piscean dwad of Aquarius, with all that Pisces energy, which is truly that wisdom of infinity and of that deeper frequency of feminine wisdom, as the 9 put it in the transmission, this powerful transmission by Magenta Pixie. Those of you who haven't heard that yet, it's really worth it. It's just about 6 or 7 minutes, but I will post that link again under the video here. So the Mercury Saturn conjunction definitely was standing out in this discovery chart. And if we look now at the solar return chart, we have again a Mercury Saturn conjunction here in the 29th degree of Aquarius, and the part of fortune here, and this is calculated for Greenwich now, for the planetary influence, versus the discovery chart is naturally calculated for where it was found first. And if we now overlay these two charts, the inner circle shows the discovery a year ago, the outer where the planets are right now, and you see this Mercury Saturn conjunction is repeating, as I showed you, again in Aquarius. Furthermore, we have the global zenith. The zero meridian is here highlighting the dark moon of the comet, and the dark moon is really the showing where the unveiling is happening. It's taking away all these layers and showing all the what's hidden in the dark. That's kind of the intention here of that black moon in the leading position here in Gemini, where actually Mars turned retrograde on October the 30th at 25 degrees and 36 minutes, by the way. So this 25th, 26th degree of Gemini is super important. I will show you in quite a few charts here. So this is the midheaven of this solar return. If you go back once more to today's chart, that's what it is. And then we have that Mars Moon exact aspect of 30 degrees. Yes, it is about firing up that primal self of humanity, bringing us together on the level of our root, so to say. That is interesting. That music is playing here again. Let me see. I guess this is still playing. Let's stop that. Anyway, beautiful music. This is the sun in action. Moon Mars here up high together with Pallas, who brings that integral understanding of how everything works, and Neptune nevertheless here at the 7th house cusp. That's the subject of inquiry, really. Neptune with the many layers of deception and of corruption, covering it all up, making it look as if presenting false notions, all of that. Neptune is truly the target here, and this can be seen in many ways. Not just that Neptune's present position is squaring that black moon and that midheaven. There's many more indications I will show you as we go. So let's look at just one more second here before we keep going. I wanted to really make sure I don't miss any of that. So we have naturally this black moon nodal axis T-square here, the north node here at 5 degrees 41. That's really very close to the 3rd house cusp, and again that degree is coming up over again that 5th, 6th degree of Taurus and Scorpio, as we will see here in these charts I have lined up for you. Now this is tomorrow, and again the coincidence is too big to call it really coincidence. This is an amazing synchronicity that just at its yearly return to the same point, at least from the sun's perspective, this is the moment when the comet's energy is fully infusing with Earth's field, so to say, Earth's aura. This is just hours away as we speak. The moon will be at 0 degrees 05 Leo, when the comet will be exactly vertical above the extended equator plane of Earth. If you can think of, this is the north-south pole, this is Earth rotating around itself, this is the equator, and it is tilted by 23 degrees against the ecliptic, which is the Sun-Earth plane. So the comet cutting through this plane, you get the energetic picture. This is the moment of infusion, and that's the one and only time the comet is cutting through that plane, and it is cutting in the sense that it will go down into the southern lower part, so to say. North is up, south is down. That's kind of one of the universal synchronicities. Again, most of the whole cosmos has this north-south delineation, which is super interesting in itself. So going south, meaning relinking with the past, with what is there in abundance, which we bring with us into this present time. It's like the south node. And interesting, naturally, the nodes here in the 0 meridian axis, the zenith point over Earth's 0 meridian. And if you look here at the discovery chart again, that's the 9th, 3rd house. Actually, the 3rd house here in the discovery chart is highlighted here. And you know what the third house is. It's communication, sharing, and connecting. Mercury's house. Mercury is the energy which, in that sense, is the final dispositor, as Mars in Gemini is fueling the Mercurian qualities. Mars is the one which is most directly the receiver of this comet's energy. It was conjunct its discovery. When it was closest to the Sun, the comet, on January 12th, that was within hours of Mars turning forward again after having gone backward for 11 weeks. And then when the comet on February the 12th, and we are getting there, this is just my next chart here, and I will jump forward and backwards a few times. So this is the perihelion. That was when Mars turned direct within hours, and when the comet was closest to Earth, which is perigee. That is when Earth is here, the comet passes by, and this is the closest direct distance it has. And Mars here at 1026, and then when Mars when this is this chart here, yes, when Mars is conjunct the comet on the 12th of February, that is the degree of the source energy, so to say. So there's lots of Mars thing going on, and just hours before, actually hours after, Mars is exactly aligned with the comet at 13 degrees and 12 minutes in Gemini. And again, the program here definitely does not have the information of the comet in it, so you have to believe me, that's where they exactly met, the comet and Mars. And as I say, hours later, that was when the comet was cutting through the Sun-Earth plane, in that sense infusing the whole solar system with its energy. And in the heliocentric chart, which is the one naturally which makes sense to look at mostly, because it is the whole solar system which is in question here to be charged up when Jupiter was exactly at the ascendant here in the 17th degree of Aries, again lined up with Vesta, which is that spiritual motivation of serving a higher good, serving a higher goal, which naturally is to do what we have to do in order to bring liberation onto this planet. And again, also these other two, Chiron and Astrea, which we have been covering a lot here, which is about cleaning up and healing. That's all one package in Aries. And Aries is super important in many ways, and we will get to that in a while. So let me jump back here, and I'm sorry I'm jumping back around here a little bit, but it is just like I often say, all these charts interlink. It's just amazing to see how the universe works, creating all these different connections, which generates a whole three-dimensional structure almost of energy. With the moon at 0 degrees Leo, when the comet tomorrow is exactly vertical above Earth's equator. Yes, this is definitely the firing power. We are feeling that thunderbolt energy, that let's bring it on, and that there's nothing to fear anymore at this point. Everything is at stake. Either we are succeeding or we will literally be done. And we looked at all these special alignments in the last recording I did. Hygeia, Pluto. It is really the rebirth of health in many ways here at the edge of Aquarius, of a whole new definition of what matters, what the values should be, with Pluto entering Aquarius on the 23rd of March, a date to mark on your calendar, as so many dates in March. It's just way too much to put into one video how much is going on in these next 4 weeks. The Jupiter-Venus conjunction, which actually you really should go out and look at in today, is actually the day when they were closest in the evening sky. A beautiful omen, a sign of new beginnings, of hope, even though, as I showed you in the particular chart of the Venus-Jupiter conjunction in my last recording, it's only going to be achieved if we first cut through that shadow. The black moon is extremely strong these days here in Leo as well, here actually in conjunction. The moon is approaching this black moon, so it is truly about merging and diving deep into all these dark corners of reality that is necessary at this point. It is the only way to a better future if we closely inspect what has gone wrong, what is going wrong on this planet. So this is tomorrow, and then 2 days later, that is really the big activation point. That is when the comet finally starts moving forward again. On that note, the comet has a retrograde orbit. Means its inclination to the ecliptic, the Sun-Earth plane, which is the measuring stick, so to say, is 109 degrees. Versus most planets are somewhere between 5 and 10 degrees. Pluto has a little more, I guess, is 17 degrees off that angle. There's a few like Pallas, which has and asteroids which are up to the 30-40 degree mark. Very, very few celestial objects are coming in vertically or even past vertical, which then makes them appear going backwards through the zodiac. The interesting thing is that during discovery, the comet was moving forward on March the 2nd, 2022. And in 2 or 3 days now, the comet will finally turn forward again from our perspective, which means actually in all other cases this would mean retrograde, but as it is going backwards to start with, this will then, the double negation makes it appear to go forward again. And I have the ephemeris here once more. I want to show you. This is thanks to Ron, who has been publishing this for free. It's available on his website astroprecise.org. You can download the ephemeris of this comet. And this is where we are. Here we are February, we are March the 2nd. You see here, this is March the okay, let me get this straight here. Here, right, from positive to negative. That's what you want to look at here. Here we have above the equator, so to say, and then below the equator. And if we do the exact math, this is the chart we are getting, the one I showed you. And then, as I say, 2 days in the future, on the 5th, the comet will turn direct again, which again is that double negation. But direct is in our perception, when a planet moves direct, its expression is outward, is forward. In that sense, in a very simple way said, it's clockwise. So the comet in its basic motion being retrograde means it really reinforces even more so that connection to the past, as retrogression always means looking back into the rear view mirror where I'm coming from. That's kind of the thing. So there's multiple indications that this comet really has a legacy which it's delivering, and now as it's moving forward again in the same way it was when it was discovered, is releasing all that energy which it has built up and making it available for use, almost you could say. So this is then the chart when it will turn direct, and nevertheless the 25th degree of Gemini here again highlighted, as you see here in this small picture. That is where the black moon is, as I pointed out in my earlier recording too. And then just 5 minutes before, and again this might change by a few minutes as the comet's path is so highly complex and has changed slightly over the last few weeks. So this might change by a few minutes, but it is in close proximity of the Sun, or actually I should say it another way, Earth, exactly conjunct Pherois. Pherois, that's that small centaur planet representing a bear's power, the mother bear actually to be precise, who is protecting her cubs at all costs. It is that fierce mother instinct within us which is triggered here of caring for our future. That's truly what we are doing here in this present time. We are securing the freedom of all the generations to come. That's how big this is, and this is truly honored by this comet again, this amazing synchronicity. And nevertheless, 1425 here, when the comet gets into that forward outward expanding motion of release, so to say, of its energy which has been received and now it's being released. And again, I want to say it has been said by the 9. This is the comet of deliverance codes, downloading the deliverance codes for humanity. Deliverance, another word for liberation, very clear. And it definitely seems so. This is kind of that last final push energetically which was necessary to trigger that whole lineup of dominoes to start falling in sync with each other in the right order. It's a magical setup, really, and in many ways, as I said, is that cohesive and coherent energy we are generating, the Aurora network, all the awakened, all the ones who are on that same frequency. We are really the creators of what is to come. It is our game now. It is really like reality is recrystallizing around us. I just said it to my wife, to my dear wife, today when we were driving in the car again. We have a car in front of us with an amazing license plate, something like 777 and two letters of the same kind. It happens all the time. Wherever I look, wherever I go, I see these signs of synchronicity popping up. So it is literally reality around us is repatterning, reconstructing itself, crystallizing in a whole new way, and that is the power we have. And the more clear we are, the more energy can come through us, as we are these capacitors holding that charge. That is the magic behind what is happening. And as I say, I get lost here in so many things I want to say. 1425, and the comet moves forward. That is the position of Jupiter in its discovery chart. How about that? It's really about that expansion in Pisces. Pisces, and naturally Pisces is that very subtle energy. It's kind of subversive in a way, undercurrent. You can't really see it coming in disguise with Neptune here. Yes, Neptune being the one. I mean, Neptune plays so many roles. It's not that we want to blame Neptune for anything. Neptune is just the frequency which has this extreme wide spectrum, and it is about liberating that lower frequency of Neptune. That is what truly is happening in this present time. So let's move on. Again, I could say many more things. I mean, yes, this I should mention. This is really another one which stands out. You see, when the comet starts moving direct outward, expanding its energy finally, the moon at 1935 Leo, and that is where the ascendant is here in this global chart for Greenwich, where the moon was at 0 degrees Leo. So this is the kind of the final download. Happens tomorrow early morning into Earth's electromagnetic makeup, and then 2 days later, when the moon is at this degree, that is when the comet moves outward and starts spilling its beans, literally. And this is then just an initiation process. This is starting a whole new dimension, opens a new chapter in the book. Interesting also, I mean, again, there's so many things, I can't even look at them all at once. Pallas here in perfect opposition to the vertex. Again, in short, the vertex is the higher dimensional meeting point with our surrounding world. Pallas being that ability to see patterns. in the Scorpionic Dwad, by the way, where it turned direct just a short while ago. Scorpio, the sign of deep investigation. So on January the 12th, just to recapitulate a little bit here, showing you, you can watch my whole videos, they're a bit long. I know this is always the downside of packing in so much. So that's why I do this shorter version, hopefully. Never know. So Mars still going retrograde for a few more hours. So this is interesting. So it is still that getting ready phase in a bigger way. That moment when it was closest to the sun, kind of arrived at its apex point in terms of its relationship to the sun, to the whole solar system. Closest to the sun, from there on goes again away. Will take another 50,000 years for it to come back. Big moment with Uranus and the North Node here at the 10th house cusp. And then just a few weeks later, again on almost the exact same configuration with 25 Leo. You see, you can't make that stuff up. I mean, it's uncanny again. That Leo Aquarius energy is just so strong with that Uranus up here in the 10th house. It's unbelievable. And you see the black moon here. Again, the black moon connection. This is where the black moon was in January and then in February, and then we go back to the chart of now. Here, actually, when it is infusing its energy into the Earth grid, again that 0 degree. So it is really sensitizing us to that dark background energy. It's kind of making us stumble, helping us to get to see what's truly going on. The black moon being so front and center. That is now the perigee chart. Let's go back once more. This is the perihelion with the moon here at 26 degrees Virgo. And if we go here to the solar return of today, 26 Virgo here. And then let me show you one more chart here. This is Neptune's discovery chart. Mars in the 26th degree of Virgo, opposing Sedna. And I mentioned in my earlier recording, yes, Sedna seems to be playing a critical role here in this whole storyline, as Sedna brings with her, very similar to the Comet, coming back from a very long orbit. In Sedna's case, it's 11,000 plus years, bringing all that information from the deep past, all the secrets and mysteries. In that sense, this has been set up with Neptune's discovery chart in 1846, that the activation of this axis, Mars and Sedna, Mars is fueling that curiosity of what's hidden there in the deep dark recesses of the cosmos. Happens to be the hexagram 36, darkening of the light. Yes, this is really at the very bottom of the sea. That's where Sedna is emerging from. And this is now here getting into the limelight. Neptune conjuncting Sedna in its discovery chart. So then on February 12th, the comet with 0 degrees latitude, that is, as I said, that is when it's connecting, feeding into the Sun-Earth plane, that plane where all the planets more or less are arranged around. And again, bear in mind, the comet comes in at an angle of 109 degrees to that plane. So cutting through it just once and then disappearing again into the dark. Also cutting from north to south, another indication of that connection to the past. And if we look, okay, then okay, so yes, this was within hours of no, that is not correct. That was the one and only alignment on that day. But let me see what else I wanted to point out here. Again, the part of fortune this time, opposing Pallas. Pallas is definitely showing up repeatedly in different positions of importance. The Sun Uranus square here, square Earth, naturally in the power axis of the chart, as it was when it was closest to the Sun. With Saturn at the 7th house cusp, another really important player, Saturn, exposing the structure, bringing the what's hidden at the core, bringing it to a clear, it's kind of that X-ray vision showing the skeleton within. That's what Saturn is. The skeleton which holds everything together, the crystallization. And then on February 12th, yes, let's look at this chart also a little more. This is now the geocentric moment when the comet feeds into that Sun-Earth plane, and the moon at the south node, at the lunar south node. Yes, once again it's linking us back to the full cup, to what we bring with us from the past in Scorpio. And if we look at the discovery chart, this is here at the 9th house cusp, and the north node here at the 3rd house cusp. The 9th house being that universal wisdom, again, that higher dimensional insight of reaching out into the cosmos. It's the university per se. The cosmos is the university, the universe, the university of universities, if you want. And then, as I shown you already, this is the heliocentric chart with that powerful Jupiter here and all the asteroids, expansiveness. An interesting pair which is super important in our present time, and which I've spoken of a few times, Quasar Pholus. For many decades they move in sync, these two. This is taking on a difficult project finally, kind of, and after having kind of postponed it for too long. That's Pholus energy. When Pholus comes in, he says, let's get it done, let's do it, this is the right moment. And Quasar, yes, that is that experience of first having to swallow something difficult and painful in order to get to a better place. It is a difficult situation which we have to go through. That's usually what Quasar means. It's a challenge, breaking through a ceiling, which, if you think of it as a glass ceiling, yes, it can leave wounds on your body when the shards are hitting you. That is the danger here, but it's worth the price. That is an energy which is, as I say, for many decades to come. I guess it's up to 2061 when they finally will separate from each other. Up to then they will be with a few degrees all through these next few decades. Super, super important to keep those two in mind. In here, this elevated position, then this is maybe the most important chart of them all. This is when Mars gets its direct hit with the comet. That was on February 12th, as I say, just a few hours. (8:59) it was within the ecliptic, and at 7:06, so that's 2 hours, less than 2 hours before it enters the ecliptic. Interestingly enough, the comet and Mars have this close encounter. Charging each other up in a way, uniting their forces. And again, you see with the Aquarius rising here, which totally resonates with the discovery chart. And if you think of the comet coming in from 9 degrees Aquarius, leaving around 22 degrees, having this extreme flat ellipse, going deep, deep into the cosmos. 9 and 22, that is 31. If we take the midpoint of that, that is 15 degrees and 30 minutes. You see that's pretty exactly where the Discovery ascendant is, and that is where this Mars infusion is coming to its pinnacle, to its prime, with Mars here very, very close to the fourth house cusp, actually in the fourth house. This in itself makes us think of Mars in Cancer, which it actually is heliocentrically already, and will be after March the 26th also geocentrically. So this will then change the tune again quite a bit into even more of a commitment to helping each other, which is Mars in Cancer is having that deep commitment to family, to bond together, to take care of one another. That will be definitely becoming a big theme as soon as in a few days, really starting with Saturn entering Pisces, as I said, when more and more the focus will be on realizing we're all in the same boat and we have to help one another, we have to heal one another. It is that coming together of humanity, this on the base of what has been perpetrated, of seeing how many people are suffering. That is really what is bringing us together. Now let's go back to the Discovery chart once more, right? I wanted to just show you here that is the heliocentric picture of this chart here you have over here, and you have here Saturn very close here to the ascendant together with Australia. Yes, it is an cleaning up of the past. That's what it truly is, of rolling our sleeves back and doing the right thing, getting involved, getting our hands dirty, doing the right thing, standing up, speaking out, taking charge, with Uranus here T-squaring heliocentrically. Right, this was the next one I wanted to show you here, this heliocentric Mercury here at its discovery. This is the midpoint chart of the Comet's discovery with Neptune's discovery and the Sun here at 2155 Gemini. Now let's just go back to this heliocentric chart, 2159 Sagittarius. You see that is where here this chart is where Earth is in this midpoint chart, meaning this is where Neptune's and the Comet's energy are meeting, where they are touching on each other. There's a part of fortune Jupiter conjunction here. Yes, Jupiter is the bringer of light, the guru in the East Indian take. the bringer of knowledge, of wisdom. Interesting also here, this lunar nodal axis here, 11 degrees Leo, here the south node. And if we look at Neptune's chart, I just want to show you this quickly. It's really another, I mean, there's so many correlations and connections. This is Neptune's discovery chart in heliocentric. Mercury here, 11 degrees 57 in Leo. You see, there's so much information in these charts. I mean, it's really an open book. You just have to read it, and I'm doing this here, showing you what I'm seeing. And then just want to top it off this session here with showing you, this is Mercury's synodic chart, meaning the start of the next Sun-Mercury cycle on May the 1st, when Sun and Mercury will be in the exact same degree, 1119. Actually, it's just a little offset here because there's so much going on. They are here. So this moment is laying the foundation, May the 1st, for the coming 4 months of Mercury's expression of how it is expressing itself. And with the moon here, 26 degree 32 in Virgo. We have seen this degree many times already. Let's just line it up here quickly. 26 Virgo here. Then let me just see if I find it right away. Which one was it? This is Neptune's discovery chart, 26 Virgo. When the comet was closest to the sun. You see, it's really that, what I say, how moments in time, important moments in time, interlock with each other to create this three-dimensional structure. Yeah, I mean, let's just leave it at that for now, and let's see if I have something else here I wanted to show you before I cut off. I think I showed you everything I had lined up here, just to be sure. This we've seen, this we've seen, right. Yeah, that was the last one. My friend has actually just shared this today, and I thought this was fitting in as, particularly in this context. Let me just go back here once more to this chart here. The comet infusing its energy into the ecliptic in this center degree of Aries, Mars sign, by the way, to really make this clear once more how important Mars is here on all levels. Mars squaring this degree actually. So Mars, Aries, and Eris. Now let's look at Eris for a moment. So because that is what she is focusing on. Finding out interesting things about Eris. 2 articles below. It's the same size as Pluto, we know that already, and can be raised from dwarfing her impact to even the 10th planet for looking at her energy in your natal chart in Aries. Now, let me just stop here for a second and say it was Aries' discovery in 2003 which made astronomers go over the books, because they understood Aries was slightly bigger than Pluto. So they were reluctant, shall we call Aries the 10th planet, and the or one, because it was realized that there probably are a multitude of smaller planets of that size of Pluto's and Aries out there still, comparingly small to the big gas giants, Neptune being the last of the big planets, having a diameter of roughly 30,000 kilometers or so, and then comes Pluto and Eris, less big than our moon, just 2,300 miles or so. So that was the starting point. So really it is Eris. Eris is the cause of Pluto's degradation, losing its title of a planet, so to say. So Eris in itself brings here an important first expression of her energy. It's a feminine force, and Eris, the cultural disruptor. Yes, it's very true. The truth force, the feminine Mars energy. I like that one. It's really that Amazon warrior princess who throws in the golden apple of discord onto the table. Sole purpose warrior. She's an Aries in everyone's chart. Yes, this is really boiling it down. So look to house placement and the ruler of that placement in your personal chart, what aspects her, as well as your own Aries first house placements, as the sign Aries resonates with the first house in that sense. That's what she says here. So pretty much everyone living right now on planet Earth, everybody born after 1924 has Aries in Aries. By the way, the last time Aries was in Aries was roughly between 1450 and 1570, somewhere in that range. If you know a little bit about history, that was the time of Renaissance, where a real renewal and a lot of new wisdom came up from the past, was integrated into the culture, which was an extreme opening to a greater worldview, and that's what we are seeing again in this 120-year period between 1924 and 2044. I guess it's pretty obvious. So we all, as a planet full of us, have issues, wounds in our Aries house of self. Naturally, this is also true, as this is that disrupting energy of having to go over the books and looking what has gone wrong, what needs to be exposed, all of that, that is Aries energy. And as present, there is Jupiter, Venus and Chiron in that center degrees of Aries, as I shown you, close by Aries, which is now around 24 degrees in Aries. So pretty much everybody on this planet is having this at least wide conjunction between Jupiter, Venus, Chiron and their Aries, all ping our first house as the house of Aries in all our charts on the ascendant of who we are in this world, with Aries issues to be looked at while were moving into the expansion of self, love and wound healing with Jupiter, Venus, Chiron. The higher expression article on Aries is excellent below, and she shares a couple articles here. I will put these under the video, then you can look that up if you're interested to learn something here. Anyway, thank you again for joining and listening, and let me show you the chart once more to end here the session. This is the discovery chart of the comet. Let's just end with this one. Thank you so much for listening, tuning in. Hope you had a good time listening here, enjoyed it, and see you soon. Love you all. Bye bye.